If you don't know who you are, how do you know your lane? Like if you don't know who you are, how in the world do you know your lane? And this is where the idea of grace, space for yourself needs to come into play. Whether it's a new job you're in, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business you're starting, whether it's whatever it is, um, even if you just got married, like this applies. Trying to know your lane starts with knowing who you are and how God made you, what you're good at, what you're not good at, what's authentic and natural for you, what's not. And you're going to make mistakes. And I think a lot of people struggle with the idea of knowing their lane in anything, um, because either one, on one side, they want approval and acceptance. So they'll strive and go outside their lane just to get attention. Um, or two, they actually just don't know what is their lane. And so they won't um, have any understanding as far as what is kind of like out of bounds versus what makes sense for them. So let me give you a practical example. For me, something simple is online marketing. That became very clear to me that um, I'm just not an online marketing person. I'm not like this megaphone person. Some people are, but over the years, it became super, super clear to me that that's just not who I am. And that's not my lane. And I've tried that lane and it doesn't work for me. And so, people will, in the life coaching world, people will want to tell you, you're a great coach, but you don't have the realization that the rest of the world needs to know who you are if you're going to ever make an impact. And I was like, that's just not God. Like, there may be a principle there that I can follow, but for me, like, I had this realization with the Lord, and this goes back to how I was navigating living a changed life. The Lord was like, TJ, you've had this idea of like reaching millions and all of that. He's like, what if you just reached one? Would that be enough? And I was like, I I guess maybe. Is that enough? But I have other needs. Like, is one enough financially in this example? If that's what I'm doing for work full time. And he wasn't asking any of those questions. He was just asking me, TJ, if you just reached one, would that be enough? And he was just testing my contentment. He was just testing my contentment, right? And I think that's super important because Narda said that's deep. I think that's super important because in anything that we're doing, like the idea, the culture that we live in, at least if you're like me, kind of what you grew up with and the drive inside of you, more, 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 bigger, 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 faster, faster, faster. And it's like, actually, what if it's not? What if it's smaller, simpler, slower? And what if that's not who you are? Bigger, faster, um, scaling, all of that. Like, what if it's just so much simpler? What if it's just that one person? And what if that one person has a massive ripple effect on the rest of, their sphere of people? And what if they send one person? And then what if that one person sends one person? And so what ended up happening for me is, I say it's a business, it's really a ministry, and the Lord showed me that. But with coaching over the years, since 2016, it's been like, I mean, I kid you not, it's been like 75% referrals. Simply, not even like, I, I've tried all the things that you think you need to do to grow a business. Those didn't really work for me. What worked for me is actually just focusing on the people in front of me and doing the best I could with what I had. And that was focusing on those people that are in front of me, that are giving me their time, energy, and attention. I didn't need to prove something. And I think I'll go into this later, but we can do things that are unnatural when we put unnecessary pressure on ourselves. And that's why I say, as part of my reflection, like knowing your lane is so important. I would say more than knowing your lane, it's like practicing driving and realizing like what lane is best for you. It's not about you wake up one day and it's about getting up and driving and figuring it out along the way. And I think if you're slower, thoughtful, um, leaving opportunity for some reflection, you're able to kind of be redirected as needed. And for me, I used to beat myself up. Oh, I need to do more. This isn't working. I need to fix that. Try this, try that. I ended up spending a lot of money on things that were just not me. And it took me months and months to figure that out. But I learned, and now I know very clearly what is and isn't me. And so it's just been so helpful as I've kind of thought about, well, how do all of these lessons apply to the future, the rest of my life? It's like, wow, when you get more clarity around your guidelines, your boundaries, the lane that you drive, you can go a whole lot faster just because that's the lane that you're in. Versus thinking you got to jump over this lane so you can try and get ahead there, jump over there, and then try and get ahead there. It's like, no, it's actually just stay focused on the lane that you're in. Once you discover that that is a lane that's for you, and man, ride that thing out and trust the process. And that's been so helpful for me is realizing that. So I hope that that helps somebody who's thinking about maybe just a time in their life where, or even now, a time in their life where they're recognizing maybe I'm just like kind of going against the grain here and things aren't working. I would say, are you doing something that's unnatural because of unnecessary pressure?